Gasp. It's awake. I can't have weird alien Shreks with it when it's awake. Hey buddy, you're holding up the line. We're all waiting to have weird alien Shreks. Just hit the button. Reset. My bad. I got a pic of my boyfriend falling off a floaty and just realized there was a guy falling off a boat at the same time. The way that all of these girls are unknowingly wearing the same outfit. Two women with same mask, similar clip and hair. Was this planned? I have a very visually distinctive necklace. Well, one day, after I took it it disappeared. I looked and looked for it, finally giving up, and wrote my necklace off as lost forever. I moved into the same apartment as my mom's first apartment without knowing that she ever lived there. These two guys entered the metro from different stations and don't even know each other. They kind of fit together. My neighbor bought a used car and found a picture of me as a child in the glove box. I ran into someone from my school at a gas station in New Jersey. We grew up in a New Zealand town of 31,000 people. Had two of the same NPCs show up to class today. One time when I was like 8, I was rolling a toy plane. I distinctly remember it was an F-117 stealth fighter across my desk. Turned down a spelunking date in 9th grade. 15 years later, the rejected boy was my tour guide on an 8-hour spelunking tour. My husband and I were the only two that signed up. I checked out a book at my high school library. The old library card fell out of it with my mom's signature on it. She had checked it out in the 80s. My mom died when I was 8, and the exact same day she died 3 years later I saw her doppelganger and she said I looked familiar. Identical twins who married identical twins. It's not that juicy, but I ended up at a new friend's house and 3 out of 4 of us had the exact same birthday. October 31st, 1995. Spotted a glitch in the Matrix today. Met a stranger with the same exact nose piercing, haircut, makeup, and outfit as me. My mom's first love was the dad of my first love. I'm from America. I had a pen pal from the UK, went on a class trip to Spain and just randomly ran into her. My cousin's kid looks like Sal. Glitch in the Matrix. I had this childhood bestie Leslie. We lived in the same apartment complex. She moved and I was so sad. My fam also moved a week later. We unexpectedly moved across the street from Leslie. My finances mom was one of the nurses who took care of my mom after she gave birth to me. I was in an airport once, and I had this book in my bag, and as I was going through security I realized that the lady in front of me was the author, and then she signed the book for me. My friend met his doppelganger last night. My family went on vacation in Punta Cana this year and ran into a group of girls we met 5 years prior on another family vacation in Mexico. We're bored, tell us your wow, what a small world story. I'm not talking I saw my ex at church after 10 years. I'm talking complete glitch in the matrix. Convinced we are in a simulation story. I went to Istanbul and found used written postcards from the 50s in an antique shop. One was written by my great aunt to my great grandmother back in Berlin. She never sent it from Istanbul. Ejected the CD and the music kept going. 4 of us in the car were like, we are dead. This is limbo. What is going on? The night I met my boyfriend we were talking and figured out we lived in 2 of the same childhood homes and had the same rooms. My family moved in right after he moved out each time. My reply from the last thread like this. Okay, my sister and I were playing the age-old game of get the duck out of my room. If you've never played it before, all you do is try to get the intruder out. I managed to get her outside the door, but she always tried to push it open while I was attempting to close it in a sort of reverse tug-of-war situation. Suddenly, I slam it shut, meaning I won. I turn around and there is my very confused sister wondering how she ended up back in my room. In her confusion, I managed to get her back out. I traveled several states away, went to a flea market, and found a one-of-a-kind postcard of my grandparents' house from 1911. I recently rode the bus to a hospital appointment listening to my playlist on shuffle. As I was walking into the hospital, Kyrie by Mr. was halfway through, and I switched my phone off. I checked in with reception and could still hear the song playing. I checked my phone, it was off. The song was playing on hospital radio. I caught the second half of it. I mean, it's a top tune, but this was 30 plus years after release, and it wasn't even a massive hit here. Totally bizarre. On our trip to Paris, my friend found his doppelganger in the Louvre. Hilarity ensued. My brother got a lucky rabbit's foot keychain. I was tossing it in the air and catching it. One time it went up, but didn't come down. 30 years later I was working in the ceiling and found it on the heat duct that was covered by a drop ceiling. Dude spawned twice for his root. I once found a 20-sided dice that I had lost a few years prior in America, in the middle of a desert in Israel. It was the exact same dice as well. I remember because it was the same coloring and had the same scratched off number as well. Lost my contact lens in my friend's swimming pool one summer. The next summer, after coming to the surface, my friend found it stuck to my cheek. I left the office one day to pick up some lunch. On the way I saw an old colleague I hadn't seen for years in the petrol station. I was going to pull in and say hello, but I was busy and hungry so continued driving. About 3 PM that day I was told he had died in a car crash that morning about 50 miles up the same road I saw him on. My dad ran into his boss on vacation in a random small town in France. When I was in high school, I had a vivid dream where I was in science class sitting in a different seat than usual. I also had a different clicker the remote used to enter answers during quizzes, and one of my friends said a very off-color joke to the teacher. The next day, a couple in the class had to be separated, so I moved seats and was given a clicker based on my new seat, and my friend said the joke from my dream that I was convinced he wouldn't due to his personality. I remember sitting in my chair completely confused and in awe. I found my mom's library card in a cave when I went on a spelunking tour in Australia last year. I'm from Sweden by the way, shaking my head. Same guy enjoying 2 meals at one restaurant. These 2 unrelated people on my flight started watching the same movie at the exact same time. Had a major deja vu 2 days ago. Little person walks by carrying a blank canvas and heads into the stairwell and descends to the parking garage. Half a minute later the scene repeats, without him ever coming back up the first time. Since 1981, Key West, Florida has held a Ernest Hemingway look-alike contest which looks like a huge glitch in a matrix. My mom had decided on my name, Phoebe, before she gave birth, and the nurses who helped deliver me were Monica and Rachel. Welcome to the Matrix. This isn't really a glitch, but occasionally I will fall asleep and dream at night and recognize the dream from when I was a very little kid. I'm 31 and basically pick up from where I left off. This has happened with 5 separate dreams now. As in, I'll dream I'm in a particular place doing a particular thing and remember inside the dream that I left off here when I was 6, and this is what happened before I reached this point. My girlfriend met her doppelganger and found out they have mountain tattoos in the same spot. My friend found her doppelganger at a party. When I went to Switzerland and happened to look exactly like this random wood statue. Spotted yesterday in Piccadilly. Confronting his copy. I was yelling something to my SO until I realized it wasn't him but his doppelganger. Something is wrong here. Mark 6687. When the warning lights on your vehicle's dashboard light up, you know you're gonna have a bad time.